What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the CantinaMX podcast. We excuse John. He's in Puerto Vallarta. This is Albert Campa. And I'm here with, we just got another panelist to join. So, with our regular panel of esteemed gentlemen, as John would say, and episode 112. And we're going to go into a lot of topics today, a lot of news, what's going on around the world of Mexican soccer. And but to introduce everyone, let's start with Dan from Escondido. How's it going? Dano.
Pretty good, Beto. Evening, everybody. Happy to be here. Another fun round of national team games and one last jornada before the Liga starts. So, fun soccer times.
Yep. Glad to have you on. And
national team.
Next, Joel from Los Angeles. What's up, Joel?
Al. I hear lots of good info coming on this week. So yeah, plenty to talk about.
Cool stuff. And then next in line in Los Angeles as well. And Profe, Cambio Rayas, what's up?
Hey, Beto. How you doing, man?
Hey, pretty good. You got some good audio.
How's it going, everybody? Hey, guys. You know what? I'm gonna take offense at Beto's intro. You know, he said esteemed. You know, I've always thought myself more as a distinguished gentleman, so I just want to make that distinction.
Distinguished. Okay. Got you triggered a little bit with the esteemed. Okay.
Yeah, totally, man. My Jaimes are completely rustled right now.
Jaimes. We're glad to have you, man.
All right, thank you.
Last but not least, Ronnie from Philadelphia. What's up?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Relaxing with your huge screens and operation center going over there.
Yeah, I need to get a couple more screens. It's like I bought this one huge monitor now. It's gonna have to get another one.
All righty. Cool stuff. So I guess to start off, then some national team talks. Mexican national team had 2 friendlies. Did pretty well. Got the win against Belgium and then tied Poland. Osorios seems to get a little bit of praise now. The Osorios fans seem to. I see a little bit of
the fans and the apologists, chiquis.
Yeah, the apologists seem to be doing the in your face to all the haters a little bit. Not too much, but I see it a little bit.
We must give him credit though, Al. I mean, going into those games, his record against teams, well, Mexico's record with him in charge against teams ranked higher was pretty bad. So I mean, regardless if it was friendly or he played, the bench, the team did get a win and a draw playing away, so that it does deserve credit.
I think the Belgium game was impressive at times. There was also some of the typical lack in defense. Apparently it's apparent by the score, but it was interesting to see the post comments by what's that dude's name, De Bruyne. He was sort of complaining and upset.
ADB, Kevin De Bruyne, Manchester City forward.
Yeah, exactly. He was complaining that they need more direction. They need a coach that can direct them and their tactics. And
wait, he's complaining about Belgium's coach?
It was about Belgium. What he's complaining about is KDB's playing for Pep Guardiola right now at Manchester City. So, it's an entirely different system from what Belgium is putting out there. I don't have all the specifics of the differences, but other than obviously they're a team at Manchester City that likes to open up defenses for their attacking players, and Belgium's not really that kind of system. And so I guess he was kind of comparing Belgium to Mexico, where Mexico's they're a little bit more proactive. They're going to go at you like they're the home team, even if they're on the road.
Well, it didn't feel like that in the first half. It didn't feel like Mexico felt like it was just they were sitting back.
I think they were overwhelmed in the beginning. But I mean, throughout the game, obviously they had the ball more.
You know what, Profe? I hear words like overwhelmed, and then I was reading
Well,
reports saying
yeah.
Mexico, what Mexico learned and stuff like that,
What
and
did they
it
learn?
and it rustles my highness too, because this is this is a team that a lot
Respira,
of
cabrón.
players have
Respira.
have have 2 to 3 World Cups under their belt. There's nothing to learn, man. There's nothing new for
Well,
them. Playing Belgium
well,
is we've faced Belgium at
dude,
in
these
an actual
players,
World Cup.
there is something to learn because first of all, Mexico, the federation went with a guy who had no experience at the national team level, had
Yeah,
no,
but
and his only experience was coaching Atlético Nacional team that was
okay, well, I mean,
tricampeón
if
in
we're
Colombia.
paying JCO to learn is one thing, but I'm saying
It's a
if,
jump
if
in the
you're
level
if
for
you're
him.
Ochoa that's been in World Cups, Herrera.
Yeah,
So I mean,
well,
we had
and you
quite
know
a
what?
good group of.
Well, I'm agreeing premise with you that this is. I mean, tying Belgium in Belgium is not really impressive because they've played against Belgium in the World Cups before. So
Yeah, and teams similar like them. I mean,
I mean, it's
Croatia.
not an impressive game. I'm on board with you as far as the sentiment that you're trying to share, where hey, these are not new heights, and I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah,
I agree.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, not to take credit from the win or the draw. They're good, but don't.
Well,
Let's not try to
I
make it
mean,
more than it is, or make it seem like Mexico's never done that.
well, you know what, dude?
I think this
I saw
current
the
team,
I
though,
saw the
well,
I
I think
saw
this current
90.
team, though, needed it.
But I'm saying, maybe some of the players, but you have players that they've been through that already, not once but
No,
like
well,
twice.
I'm sorry.
Dude,
I don't mean from a learning standpoint. I agree 100% that this team isn't going
Oh,
to learn a whole lot. There's probably some players that maybe the very fringe players that are
the Chukis.
that could that are still learning and growing. Well,
which
him
ones are your
actually, he's not a fringe player, but
you,
he's probably one of the
you know what?
exceptions.
That's a good point, Dan. Because the players that should be carrying this team, they're not doing that. Like, I mean, in these last two games, Chucky was a star, and so I kind of have this just bad feeling about them because it seems like Mexico's like one injury away from having a bad time. The last cycle it was Gio. He was a clutch player, and once he was out of the game, we saw what happened against Netherlands in particular. And obviously they didn't have Vela. Like well, now they got Vela, they got Gio. They're not. They're on vacation basically. They're not having a big impact on the games.
But I
So
don't think Jonathan had played poorly. Again,
I'm talking
I
about
don't
Gio.
think
Like yeah, okay.
it's MLS. That's the reason that I'm
Well,
going to go
Vela
ahead and
too.
say the same thing I've been saying. Like the team, the players that have been playing poorly vary. Some guys are that have played poorly with the national team came off regular minutes. Some of them came off sporadic minutes. Playing time hasn't correlated necessarily with good performances or bad. Like we want to point and we're almost hoping that Jonathan does bad and we're hoping that Gio does poorly. Well, Gio, yes, his level has definitely dropped, but I haven't seen such a huge difference in Jonathan's game, and as far as the national team's concerned, I haven't seen that huge of a drop off between both of them. I don't think Gio's been our worst player. So
I agree with you,
No,
Dan.
I
I
but
think
he's expected to carry the team. He's in his prime. He's
I think he realizes though that his time to be the focal point is gone.
him and Vela were the chosen ones. They were
we're
supposed to
past
balance the
tense.
force.
Well, I think this World Cup for them and for someone like Rafa, who I think has that kind of thorn in their side where they feel like they've missing out on reaching a different level with the national team. I think they're sensing it that they're kind of having a what could have been kind of thing. They're trying to avoid that. So I do think that they're gonna be focused and they're gonna add something to the team. But they're gonna play their role. They're not gonna be the focal point, and I'm okay with that because there's
frankly, better players than they are. As far as in the attacking third,
Well,
there's like
but
4 or 5
shouldn't,
players that are better than them currently,
but so you think they still make the World Cup squad
without question.
based on the way they're going, or is it just their based on their upside? Like they might wake up today
Based
pissed
on
off at some
everything.
headline.
Based on everything, I saw what the supposedly best of Liga MX had to offer in the Copa de Oro, and it was poor. It was poor. There was literally just a couple of players that managed to look okay. So I don't think they did anything to and especially those attacking players. There was players that had a chance to shine, and they didn't. They just didn't. So
But
I definitely think
for point,
Vela.
Dan, going to that World Cup, to the Gold Cup, you're saying, Dan, Mexico, we always pretty much, well, say Mexico does pretty bad when it's that second Gold Cup, and that kind of always seems to be the case. Not justifying it, but the performances have always been poor every time.
You know what though? I want to say I was happy with Guardado's performance. I didn't see the whole game. I listened to it on the radio, but I saw the 90 en 60 some summary that they do on one of the channels.
90, 60, 90.
90 60 revienta.
El 360.
But I think you're going with somewhere. You're going back to the Monterrey party with Jolie.
Okay.
Joder.
The Salcido party.
But
No.
yeah, you gotta watch out. That's I was
With the salchichas.
Look, Guardado's
John's gonna be upset with you guys.
Guardado's play to me was it was pretty good. I was happy with him the way he distributed the ball from the back. I thought it was Tom Brady second, or Peyton Manning, whatever your preference is, or Joe Montana.
I thought the midfield did okay. I mean, I know Reyes had a rough go, but I mean Herrera and Guardado were good.
Yeah, I agree.
And even still, I mean, not that I'm excusing the goal, but like one of their goals was pretty fluky. I mean, sure, like 90% of the goal had already happened as far as like the breakdown of the defense, but they did benefit. So I mean, I guess the way I saw these games play out just gave me hope that at minimum we got a round of 16 for sure. I feel pretty confident in saying that this team's going to go at minimum what they've done in the past, and it gives me some some hope that depending on the draw and depending on circumstances that the team could
so you don't agree with
surprise
Guardado's
us.
statement? You don't agree with Guardado?
What did he say?
Well,
that they could win the World Cup.
Yeah, that they could win the World Cup. That's his goal. He says.
Well, no, that's. I think that's what they have to say, and I think that's the way they should be thinking.
Well, you know what, Dan?
I'm not part of the team.
He believes it.
I get to be objective and be more as a spectator, and I could look at it more objectively because they're not talking about the probabilities. They're thinking about what they think, about what they believe. So I that's what you want to hear from your leader, I think.
Well, we can't talk about probabilities though because the pots are already set, and right here at the cantina we've been playing with the simulator. No te excites.
Is that what you call it?
Not that time. The group draw simulator is the Sibian, and the results have been pretty favorable. We did 3. So the one I did, Mexico was drawn with Russia, Morocco, Iran. It's just like I would take that. Al, what did yours get? You had Poland?
I'm trying to bring it up. I had I know it was Germany was the top team. South Korea. Let me find it.
That sounds like a group of death right there.
No, Iceland, I think, was it?
Iceland,
El Dan se lo olvidó.
Germany, Iceland, and South Korea.
And
Iceland.
That'd be a terrible group.
Iceland can be scary, man. They're familiar with Mexico, and
And South Korea's always played us well.
Yeah.
You got speed. So.
Well, we beat them. We beat them in '98.
I'm traumatized. I'm traumatized from the friendly that they played with.
Drop ball, right?
Yeah, that's the one where I'm always remembering when they played South Korea was him just brain farting and snoozing and just drop the ball in front of their striker, and then he just said thank you and just tapped it in.
Wait, do you have John's draw out?
Yeah, his was he's gonna make me look up a map. You're gonna see my flag ignorance. John's was what is Mexico? No. South Korea. What's this? A white cross on a red flag. Switzerland and Poland.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Hey, you know what?
They're not too bad though.
A little is kind of respect the way Osorio handled Lozano. Compared to the way Sven-Goran Eriksson handled Gio and Vela, where he kind of, threw them pretty much.
But I think that was expected because the Federación was pushing. They were pushing the whole golden generation angle.
Not only that though, but who was available at the time? I mean, I think at the time we were hoping and praying for Neri.
Bofo and Venado,
they're not too good.
So he could have. I think he could have relied on them, and obviously.
But let's
oh
let's
my
not
gosh,
get off
are you
topic.
serious?
Caballeros, let's not get off topic, man.
I know, but that's just crazy talk.
It is. Profes.
Look, I'm just saying,
know, man.
Sniffing
the fumes.
Yeah.
So those are the friendlies. Osorio.
No, but I mean, overall.
So are you guys kind of softening up on the whole idea of Osorio, and not on Osorio per se, but the national team's prospects this summer? Like, what are you guys thinking? Do you guys feel better about it? I think mostly all of you do, right? A little bit better.
I mean, just
Dan, I feel better because the fact that other national teams that are historically stronger, not in the tournament.
Is that the only reason?
That's weak, man.
You know what though? I still think Mexico's like one Pablo Barrera away from not having a good time. Like right now, Chucky, he's the man. He's carrying the team. What happens if he gets hurt? Like Pablo Barrera got hurt.
Knock on wood.
Well, we saw that during the summer without Tecatito. I think that's a huge drop off, and he wasn't available during these games.
But he was never like a key player with Mexico. Like he rarely featured. Where did that get hurted us?
No, okay, that's fine. But let's not pretend and not that he's our most dangerous player.
I still think it's Chucky, but both of them on the field. I mean, that's very interesting,
Well, you don't even have to be on the field, but I'm just saying, like in a situation where if the teams are bunkering, and you need someone to just beat someone off a dribble, we have one guy that can do that.
You're gonna give it to Kobe?
He's the only one, dude. He's the only one that can do the 1v1 like as good as that, as good as he can in close, tight spaces, dribble through players. Chuky's good, but he needs a little bit more space.
Yeah, against the bunker, he's not going to do much.
Hey,
I don't think he's going to do much against the bunker.
Going back to what I was saying about avoiding certain teams.
You got Lainez, they're not getting called up. Those guys would help you breaking down a bunker, and
Yeah, but they've had guys that are fast. Like I'm just saying, like in theory, yeah, that makes sense. But truth be told, like we needed Tecatito to beat Honduras. Without him, like he ended up making the game look a little bit easier than it was, but the team was struggling to create chances. He single-handedly won the game with just individual brilliance.
Go, Ron.
Go back
ahead,
to
dude.
what I was saying. Like for example, if you look at the 2002 World Cup when Germany made the final, they played Saudi Arabia, Republic of Ireland, Cameroon in the group stages, Paraguay second round, U.S. quarterfinal, semifinal, South Korea, and Brazil in the final. So it does matter. I mean, I think with a lot of the historical powerhouse teams gone, I think that sometimes you don't know how Iceland is going to do in the World Cup in the first this World Cup. You don't know how Panama's going to do. And then some of the teams that have been somewhat consistent, sometimes they tend to flake out, in key, games and matches and tournaments. So I think I'm feeling more confident because for players and the competition seems a little bit diluted. So if I think if they don't reach the fifth game, I think it would be a massive failure on Osorios' part.
Well, I just want to bring up something about Dan was talking about the confidence in JCO. So I want to say even though I'm not high on him as a coach, but he has managed in his two international tourneys, he has managed to qualify the team out of the group stage. So he did it in Centenario and in Confederations. So my big worry has always been in elimination and going up against a stronger opponent. So in that game, I'm still not super confident, but that we could get through. And looking at a lot of the simulated groups, uh, I'm pretty sure we're gonna end up with a favorable draw, and at the least make it out of the group.
The reason
So
I think that I'm a little bit more hopeful though, Joel, and this is assuming that all the players are available. I do think if you have an informed Chucky and an informed Tecatito, they literally have, I think, the potential to beat anybody, like on a given day. They're not going to be favored against everyone at all, but I think it gives us a much better chance of pulling out a big win versus not. And I do think that that's what's been lacking in previous World Cups. They haven't been able to send in all the best players that I think may have somehow made a difference. So I guess that's one of the reasons I'm hopeful that despite, like how you said, they haven't been able to beat anybody or even hang with anybody that's better than them. So they kind of shook that away. They were able to do it, even though they were friendlies. I think they surprised them. And even the second set of players, like that second 11, kind of showed some decent play. So that's why I'm mostly hopeful. They seem to look okay, and I think the quality of the team is going to get them at least through that group stage.
One thing I was hopeful in seeing that I don't think I've seen before with Osorio was I'm going to call it the 5-man backline against Poland. There's 3 in the middle and then the 2 wingers. That I think really helped. Yeah. That I think. Yeah, like Piojo. I've never seen JCO do that, and that seems.
That's funny because I've been hearing some conflicting information about that. Whether it was
there were 3 in the back for sure.
It could have been a 3-4-3.
I heard it was a 3-4-3. Yeah, that's what I was hearing too. But I guess it could shift.
If remember, one of the things that Osorio preaches on or he latches onto is an idea from Bielsa is to always have an extra defender in the back. So if the other opposing team has 2 forwards, he's always gonna play you with a 3. And if they have if they're playing you with 1 forward or like a 4-3-3, then he's gonna play you with a back 4.
Well, in the Belgium game, he had Reyes sort of helping out, which was not helping at all. It was just terrible.
You mean Reyes looked bad, or he just?
Yeah, he looked bad. He got beat. He got beat like straight up 1-on-1 plenty of times, and And the second game, it seemed to be a little bit different with the three center backs, I guess.
Where do they play? Netherlands, Brazil. I think they over with his boots over there. Robin was burning them like in the 90th minute, in the 89th minute after playing a full game. He hasn't recovered from that.
Oh, Reyes?
Yeah, Reyes.
He got broken down mentally.
Yeah, well, in that game he came in as a sub for after Moreno came out hurt, and and he hasn't really ever since that game. I don't think he's had a good game with Mexico.
Keep in mind though, he did have a tough task to try to keep things somewhat fair.
He was
going up against some pretty. What's that?
He was fresh off the bench. Robin was, old man Robin. After 90 minutes, he's burning you on speed. That's what the hell's going on.
Well, he's quick, dude.
Come on, dude.
He's just tall. He's not.
Yeah,
quick.
He's done that to countless players, and that's what I was kind of alluding to the Belgian players. I mean, who's he going up against? I mean, those guys are making a lot of guys look bad.
Lukaku.
I mean, those guys aren't. I mean, they usually win. There's a reason where they play. Why they play where they play.
Yeah, but they just play. Does he play for freaking Lobos WAP or Puebla?
Well, no. The point is that guys, really good players are getting embarrassed by those same players, and just because he gets turned and gets smoked doesn't change the fact that like, would someone else have not gotten burned? I don't know if that's true.
Dude,
he does play for Lobos WAP, man. He plays for the Lobos WAP of Europe. Compared to Robin and all the other guys.
Well, he's at Porto, dude. That's nothing. That's nothing to dismiss. He's not playing. That's the issue. And he was, and he had a really good season in La Liga last year. It was a shame that he wasn't able to stay over there. But, unfortunately, he's a guy that's being thrown out there, man. I don't. He's not my first choice to play that position.
This guy keep.
Hey, so shifting topics.
Sure.
If you guys are ready, the TAS, or the Court of Arbitration, came out and made some judgment that Joel might talk more about. I'll just explain really quick how I understand it from watching the news. Apparently, there's quite a few fines and punishments that the Mexican Federation has received, and the Court of Arbitration pretty much relieved Mexico of a few of the fines, but with a sort of a stipulation saying that if it continues, then the fines or punishment could be severe. And I think that's all it said was severe in describing the actual punishment. And
so they got a.
And so I don't know Joel or whoever.
They can't yell Putin no more.
Exactly. And the news outlet that I was watching was talking about possible points, and I think they're just grabbing at stuff.
Point deduction, you mean?
Yeah, point deduction as part of the punishment, not just fines, which would be
during the World Cup or.
It's not actually in writing. The points punishment isn't in writing or anything. It just says there will be a more severe punishment, which could be. But yeah, no more yelling that stuff. So what are your guys' thoughts on that, or any information that you'd have, Hoyle, on?
No, just the same.
This Court of Arbitration, Joel, where is this Where's this Court of Arbitration located? Is this a Mexican court, or is this like a? Or okay, so this is like the government body.
It's like an international court for some of these matters, but I think, I'm gonna put my tinfoil hat on. I think FIFA's in on it too. I don't think Mexico will go against FIFA like that, and I think it's a way to get some of the heat off of them, like FIFA not doing anything about it, because the more noise, ultimately they're gonna have to address the issue of Russia and Qatar, which is worse. You're gonna keep finding Mexico or taking points for gay slurs, but then you have countries where it's like much worse is happening.
Yeah, they actually have laws banning the whole behavior. Period.
Yeah, they want to let the stadium or
homosexual behavior, in general. And here we are just basically making fun or chanting homophobic. Yeah, no, I see. There's a huge distinction. I think. I'm sure FIFA isn't exactly excited either way. It's just a kind of rock and a hard place for them, because they know that from a PR standpoint, they should be denouncing it, but at the same time, you don't want to bring in too much attention to the subject because it begs the question. But I think people are slowly getting over it and getting comfortable with the idea of it going away. I think it's a matter of time at this point. It was fun until it wasn't, and now, like, I don't see how people could still want to say it's fun when like it's just causing issues and it's potentially hurting the team you're there to see. But that's just one guy's opinion.
No, I think one of the things that they want to start doing is having like fan identification. So then, like, the people that get caught doing it, they eventually just get banned from going to the games. So I know at the World Cup, the tickets have your name on them.
Well, I don't think I mean, I guess it'd be good for, like, if I'm not sure how it would be enforced outside of international matches, outside of FIFA, actually, because I don't think it was pretty loud during the Gold Cup matches.
Yeah, and even right there, it's difficult because you have fans from all over doing it.
Did you guys see the Piojo was on some TV show or something discussing it with, and he gives a sort of an explanation, I guess sort of defending it. They're having sort of like a back and forth debate, but I got a clip of it real quick. Hold on here.
Voy a definirle eso, porque ese grito salió como para molestia del arquero rival, que se ha gritado, nosotros somos esa palabra para todo, o sea, para todo. Pero cuando llega un cuate,
connotación de agresividad.
O sea, no es homofóbico, pero es por la FIFA, es por la FIFA, eso, no por los mexicanos, porque ellos lo tomaron mal.
It's sort of interesting because he's saying what we've always known about it, but he's discussing. Have you guys seen this?
It's still a stupid point to make, though. Like, if you're saying something out loud, other people are going to hear it, so other people are going to interpret it their own way. To say that's not what we mean and that's just stupid.
But, yeah, and I listen. I listen objectively to everything, and Piojo was the first one to state his opinion, but he was talking to I think a couple or three other gay dudes, and they were giving their side of it, and I was like pretty convinced with their side as well. Like
what were these soy boys saying?
You want to hear it? Okay,
yes.
let me continue.
Yo difiero mucho de eso.
Si no hubiera un problema, no se les multaría.
Sí, no, pero
es que esa palabra se acuñó como una grosería.
La bronca es la idiosincrasia. Cuando no conoces la idiosincrasia de un país, no te puedes meter con ese rollo. O sea, por eso la FIFA está mal. Porque yo lo he dicho mil veces.
Es por eso que todo el tiempo, gracias a la FIFA y gracias a organizaciones mundiales, se les multa. Porque usar esa palabra está mal. Y yo en cada momento, en cada ciudad a la que yo voy,
sienten
por
ofendidos y
supuesto,
agredidos.
claro, porque es una palabra que hemos escuchado desde siempre y hay personas que mueren y la última palabra que escuchan es esa. Tenemos homicidios homofóbicos, homicidios de trans.
No tienes
Justo para empatía. No. Es como en el tema de, como cuando hay un tema con la mujer, independientemente de lo que el hombre opine, a la mujer se le tiene que tomar en cuenta. Es exactamente igual con el tema de esta palabra, que sí es muy fuerte y que es una palabra que ni siquiera entre nosotros usamos, ¿sabes? Nos decimos jota, nos decimos maricón, nos decimos ay amiga, nos decimos qué onda y así, pero nunca nos decimos puto. Entonces, esa palabra es la que tienen que dejar de utilizar y por algo se les está multando. Y México está...
I guess that was the main thing, like towards the end, what he was saying.
I think they also
That didn't convince me.
They didn't convince me. Not at all. Did not convince me one bit, Dave.
Maybe I missed the part.
No, I think they don't want to be convinced, Beto. They make valid points.
I know, come on. They're saying what how they do it with each other, man. But that
No. My point is that he's saying, yeah, but if you're saying a word, whether you say that it's not meant like that or not, but the fact that it can be interpreted as that, like, don't, like, you're excusing it. You just sound stupid. You just do.
No, I'm not.
It doesn't,
No,
like,
Dan,
here's the
Dan,
thing.
Dan.
Here's the thing. Wait. Let me finish. The point of the matter is that it's alienating some people. If you don't care, then okay, fine. It's like, look, man, like, we don't mean it to offend you, but if you're offended, then oh well, sorry. That's basically the posture that people are going to take or not take. Like, I'm saying, I found it funny. I'm not gay. I never found the word offensive, but hey, some people do. So, and you don't even have to be gay to be offended by the word. Maybe you just don't want to hear vulgarities when you go to a place like that where you hear it and you hear kids say it and they all say it in unison like some glorious thing. It, like, when you think about it, it's crude. And to chop it up as saying, well, it's just part of the culture, pulling out our good friend's Pern's defense, because that's basically what Piojo was saying. Is like, it's our idiosyncrasies of the country. If you're not taking those into account. So basically what he's saying is, like, our whole country is kind of homophobic, and we all use it all the time, and we all kind of just laugh at it, but we don't really mean anything by it. And most of the time we use it, we're not even talking about gay people. That just goes to show how far extensive the overuse of the term is used in the country. That now, if you're part of the anti-PC police and you're okay with some people getting offended,
and I am against it 100%.
Yeah, no, and that's
but
acceptable.
That doesn't give you the moral high ground, because I reject the fucking moral high ground from the get-go. It doesn't give you the right.
What's that? What's saying about moral
because
high ground?
Because the social justice warrior movement is based on moral high ground. Well, that is the moral high ground is subjective as it is, and to control thought and to control.
So you're denying the fact that the word is offensive.
It may offend you.
You don't think the word is offensive?
No, I do not.
Okay.
I don't think it's offensive.
Okay.
What does
because we have, and Carlos Albert, no, I forget who the other guy is. We have been telling each other for the past 100 years. We've been telling and calling things each other on the field.
What difference does that make?
Because it's part of it. It is part.
It's part of it, yes, but it's not necessary part of it. Meaning, you could do away with it, and
okay. But here's the thing: they're protected groups. Okay. Now, if you were to make somebody because they're obese, like el pastor, what's his name, Lozano? I don't know if you remember, or if you remember him.
Tacos al pastor Lozano.
I know. I mean, so okay. So no one's making a fuss because someone's making fun of someone because he's fat.
Okay. Again. Okay. Wait. Compare apples to apples.
Ron.
Do you have
no one
cares
no.
about the fatties?
No one cares. It's only there's only certain.
Do you have 90,000? Compare apples to apples. Don't just say one thing, but compare it. Do you have an entire stadium yelling it?
Hey, now is it fun to make fun of Cuauhtémoc's appearance?
No.
El jorobado?
Well, the goalkeeper.
But no one says anything. No one says anything. No one says anything about that.
Again, do you see 100,000 people yelling it?
What's that?
Do you hear a chant?
El jorobado? Oh, I guess you've never seen Cuauhtémoc Blanco play on the visiting side.
Well, no, but I've never really been to Mexico City to watch the Mexico national team play. But somehow I'm able to hear the puto chant loud and clear. I've never heard jorobado chanted super loud.
Dude, Jesus, they even have
No. You're gonna tell me they chant it in unison, the entire stadium?
No, but people just chant randomly.
No. They don't.
What about the
That's my
referee?
point, dude. Like,
the point is
terrible, dude.
the point is
you're
that
you're being ignorant and just
No,
you're only
no.
looking at it from your own narrow point of view. I don't care about the term.
No. Oh, don't.
I don't care about the term.
Fuck your goddamn moral high ground, Dan. It's not narrow.
You know, it's
Okay?
like saying mamon is the same thing.
It is the same
as
thing.
puto is the same thing.
It's
So
deeply ingrained in the society.
it's gonna come
to outsiders, it looks bad.
No, I know, but
Like, how could you not
those
know
are just
that or accept
countries.
that? Like, look, it
Dan,
looks bad.
then don't watch the fucking game.
Yeah,
Watch the game.
Are you gonna say like in Argentina that they're sexist?
Okay,
they use
let's
concha,
not be fucking. Let's
and
not be
everyone
hypocrites.
says
Why do we watch Clásicos? Why do we watch Clásicos? Why do we watch Real Madrid and Barcelona? Why do we watch American Chivas? Because we watch it because of the fucking violence and the history behind it. Let's not be fucking prude about it. That's why.
It's fucking stupid, dude. It's stupid.
Then
It's
don't
not
watch it.
part of the
Then don't
culture.
watch it. Don't
I'm
watch
saying
it.
not to watch it. I don't find it offensive. I'm saying defending it is stupid.
I'm not defending it, but I'm just saying getting your panties in a wad over it is stupid.
Who's getting their panties? I mean, it's not fans. It's outsiders mostly. And there are fans, though. There are some people that are outspoken enough to say that they're personally offended by it. And that's their right to be offended by it. Now, if the whole purpose of this, though, and the reason that people are openly objecting to it is it's because it's costing people money.
Because it's a flavor of the month. Because social justice warriors, there's money to be made in victimhood. Let's be honest about it. There's money to be made. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
That's true. It became a thing in the World Cup.
And you're seeing
who's making money off it, though?
Anyone that writes about it every time.
Did that panel of gay guys are they getting rich over that interview?
Yeah, they currently got paid. They get paid to write articles, featured in a magazine, come out in a radio.
So you're saying so you're
there's
judging
money in other stuff. Huh?
You're claiming so what they're claiming is false.
No, but they are exaggerated with bringing up homicides and stuff like that. You're not gonna see the fans, rounding up or looking for gay guys to beat up or anything like that.
I just think that as a society, if you're gonna say, well, we're just like making homophobic chants, it's part of our culture, without accepting that it's kind of wrong, it just sounds bad.
But see, that's limiting it to me. It's limiting it to just that. It's like Mexicans and
I just don't think there's room to. I just don't think there's room to accept it. There's not room to say, yeah, you know what, it's not a big deal. Just let it go.
No, but our whole way of talking.
Posture.
No, yeah, but it's crude. The way we talk about it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think
and the way we refer to each other.
But it's one thing to have a conversation amongst a group of guys or a close conversation, and then an openly thing where children are involved and an entire stadium celebrates it.
Yeah,
they literally celebrate it. It just looks bad. I don't know how you guys want to compare it. There's nothing comparable to this. There's nothing comparable to it.
There's actually worse. And if you go to England,
there is worse. There are worse.
They do whole songs, dude. They don't chant it once. They do a whole song.
No, I get that. I'm saying there are bad things out there. I'm just saying though, nothing gets as much attention to it because it's one word. There's a build-up to it.
Because it's the media, Dan. I mean, not the Mexican media. Think about it. Even in Spain.
It's not the Mexican media, though. The Mexican media hasn't been.
They keep bringing it up.
This has been going on for a long time.
You know what's worse? Like when they're throwing banana peels.
That is worse.
To players.
That's far worse.
But I bet if it got this level of attention.
The difference, though, Joel, is that you don't have an entire stadium chucking bananas. Because then there would be outrage. There would be it's not.
Well, the Lazio stadium had Hitler salute, man.
I'm not saying there's some, but you don't get an entire vast majority of the entire stadium doing something like that. That's
you do, man.
And it doesn't happen consistently.
Hey, but you guys have to admit though that when that chant is stated, it's not a hate chant towards gays. That is not what you're thinking.
It isn't. It's para joder.
No.
It's para joder.
Mess with people. Yes. Now, the small percentage, like these guys, can take it because they of course do not. And I agree with you. It's crude, it's rude, it's vulgar, and they can take it as offensive.
Well, and I'm gonna make a point to what Dan is what Al is saying because I like one of the stadiums where you hear it loud is like at the Aztec Stadium, and it right there, and not too far, like if you go to like Tepito, they have they actually that community right there. They do this thing with like transsexual women where they host like a soccer game. There's a documentary on Vice, and the whole community gets behind them and supports them. And these are the same people that are gonna later on go to the match and yell puto. It's the exact same people.
Yes, I think the whole thing is exaggerated. Even on the headlines, when you see homophobic chant, homophobic chant is not what they are saying when they yell this word. They are yelling it to just mess with the goalkeeper, to insult somebody. They are not saying it to hate gays the way that lifestyle is. So I think there's a little bit of exaggeration.
But well, it's exaggerated to you though, Beto. But I think there's a further element that people in general, not in general, but I'm saying some people generally find this the use of it offensive. Is like, dude, like how backwards are you, or how like old fashioned can you be, or how like.
But there's all I agree. And
like there's a point in time where it's like, should we like while it's not the worst thing in the world clearly. But is this something that we should really be continuing just because fuck you? And then there's a strong element of the chant being continued because of that. Like there's like, no, you're not going to tell me not to do it. So that's kind of I don't know. I just think it's a childish posture.
There's a professional class of.
I'm not going to pretend that I wasn't like I did it. Like I said it. I used to go to games and I've said it. Like I'm not going to pretend that I didn't. But I'm all right. You don't want us to do it anymore. That's cool. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, I think
it's not a big deal.
I've never said. Believe it or not, I've never said it because I don't watch games in groups and stuff like that. I tend to always be by myself, and especially the last 15 years when I go to games, I go there as media. So, but what we've been hearing the puto chant for 25 years, and it's like people wake up. It's like, okay, what's going to offend me today? What's going to offend me today?
And I don't think that's the case at all, but okay.
Okay, what, 20 years? Really? 25 years? We've been hearing that?
No, I don't think people wake up thinking, what am I going to be offended by? I think it's kind of a ridiculous comment, but that's your opinion.
Well, we're seeing that victim mentality across many.
Again, your opinion, and I don't want it to devolve into something else.
Oh,
yeah, that's a generalization. That is, that's sort of off topic, but yeah.
But it did happen during the World Cup.
I was there in 2006. I was there in 2006. I was there in 2010, hearing it, and people were laughing about it.
It was in the 2014.
Foreign press were laughing at it.
I wouldn't doubt that the chant would be pretty popular this summer too over there.
Russia can get away with things too.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it'll be celebrated over there.
They might confuse it. They might confuse it with.
They might.
I think we're talking for the president.
Are you saying look out for it in non-Mexico games? Maybe.
Yeah, no, it has been going on in non-Mexico games.
Well, maybe but in South American games. But what if it goes on in like a Russia versus Iceland game, or Russia versus?
No, I mean there's like with other Latin American teams during the Gold Cup. It extends
itself to non-Spanish speaking countries. That would be sort of interesting. But anyway,
I think by and large, though, I mean Latin America is pretty homophobic.
Dan, you could in Mexico City, you could get married. You were able to have a same-sex marriage before in the United States.
That doesn't mean the society as a whole is not homophobic.
Legally,
because legally they were allowed to get married.
You're fighting here in the United States.
No, I'm saying in Mexico.
But in Mexico they were able to do it first.
Okay.
So I'm saying that kind of you're saying.
So the laws were more progressive sooner. Okay, that doesn't prove that homophobia doesn't exist.
It actually does because people get elected, democratically, and their democratic leaders.
No, I'm saying
voted.
So homophobia doesn't exist.
Did I say that?
That's what you're saying. No, that's what I'm saying. You're bringing up a point like to say it's not an issue.
You're making a generalization where I'm saying, hold on, wait a minute. And I said, you're making a generalization that it's that Latin America is more homophobic. And I said, well, wait a minute. The laws obviously were a little bit more advanced in Latin America, especially in Mexico, as opposed to the United States because of the same-sex marriage.
Yeah. So
that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and a lot of those countries, the same. They've also had women presidents. So yeah, I'm not saying that there are. I've never made the claim that the U.S. was more or less progressive in one way or another. I'm saying homophobia exists pretty rampantly in South America and in Latin America, period. The fact that the reason I say this is because the word puto, maricón, like the way they call it, it's used very liberally. It's very like it's almost like it's also part of the culture, I guess, in a sense, where that it's regular and it's perfectly normal to use these terms as a joke.
I think all of that goes back to what I was saying earlier. Even the maricón and all those statements are to insult someone, like a man saying you're less than a man.
But not always insult.
Hold on, that same person would not go and see a gay person and say, "Man, I hate you because you're gay."
Or call him that.
Yeah, but I guess the point is that the gay person would say,
"I'm offended,"
or someone else might say, "It's like, why do you have to use that term to insult someone?
Exactly.
Why is that an insult?"
I don't do it to insult because, like, I have close friends and family, and I'll be like, "Conda maricón," and you know, they'll reply, and I'll be like, you know, it's almost term of endearment. But if it's someone I don't know, I'm not gonna say the same thing. Or if I know someone's gay, I'm not gonna say the same thing. But it's pretty common, you know. It's like I'm saying, even like if you're Argentina, everyone says concha. You're basically calling someone a pussy, and you can say it's very sexist. And even women say it, you know, concha tu hermana, concha tu madre, and all this. It's part of their vocabulary, man. And it's like,
it's funny.
Am I gonna feel insulted here in the U.S. and go tell them to the other country not to use it because you're being sexist and demeaning to women? Because that's what started happening with the puto chant after the 2014 World Cup. It came from the U.S.
But where's it happening though? It was because it's global audiences.
But it came from the U.S.
Yeah,
the
but
whole protesting
you're not
came
getting
from
any
the
of these
US.
protests. It was never really an issue in Mexico.
That's why I'm saying it came from here. So you have people from here trying to tell another country like what's good or what's not.
And that's actually the point that I was trying to make.
It's because they're international audiences. That's what I'm saying. If they were saying it, I could, not that I'm excusing it, but you could kind of use that argument if it was just, you know, who's to be offended? It's only like within our own culture. It's one team doing it to another team. But when you're doing it from one country to another, well, then other people are going to be viewing that aren't part of that culture, that aren't part of that country, that aren't used to or don't know that it's used so liberally, that it's just a term they use and that it's not necessarily being meant to use as a homophobic slur.
If you watch wrestling, the whole stadium would yell "suck it," and you're pretty much saying "suck a dick," you know.
Yes.
She's homophobic, and that was wrestling, and that's a bunch of little kids.
Oh, dude!
And they were doing that.
We've talked about this before when other times it's come up on the subjects come up, that the hypocrisy is thick. You know, there's a ton of hypocrisy that the U.S. that anyone in the U.S. can point their finger at another country and say you're doing this because we're just as guilty.
Yeah.
You suck. Yeah, no, I'm not saying that there's not hypocrisy. I'm just saying you can't just say that it's okay. My point is like, look, man, we shouldn't be saying it because it is kind of vulgar. It is wrong. Like, I mean, that's my personal opinion. You know, I'm like, I don't think it's something that needs to be continued it's no longer clever. I think at one point it was kind of clever because one fan base that hated another fan base like eternally thought it'd be funny to do it, and it got momentum.
Alrighty, so to transition, I guess I'll say a last word, like on my morality topics of things. Even when the ref makes a mistake and you see the Mexican fans yell the "cule" chant, that's sort of offensive. Like any type of vulgar word is something I wouldn't do. And then you have what's that Colombian dude that played for Monterrey doing the like slant eyes thing? The slant eyes thing, and I haven't heard anything about that since. And that's sort of like, you know, messed up. And then, but anyway,
I would agree with you, Beto. I mean, if you're gonna reprimand someone for doing one thing, then you should do it evenly. And
his apology was totally bull, because he said in his apology that that the people misunderstood what he was doing.
So you weren't making fun of the fact that he was Asian?
Yeah, exactly. Like he was saying that pretty much.
What were you doing?
I have no idea. And then on the radio show, there was like the girl showing, like imitating what he was doing. They were making fun of it as well, pretty much. But anyway,
That
continue
actually
on.
was kind of funny though. But though, I'm sorry, just to drag it on, just a pinch more. I remember when the Spanish team did that during the Olympics, I believe.
Yeah, I remember
in
that.
Beijing.
Oh, geez.
And I remember Paul Gasol. He was in LA at the time, and he got a lot of flack for it. I mean, from certain areas, but yeah, a lot of people kind of just weren't cool with it.
Well, here's a question then for, I guess, delaying this topic a little bit longer. When in Spain they started yelling "Indio" to Hugo Sanchez, how did he handle that? And were their
He
reactions?
developed thicker skin, and made it a point to succeed.
But he just let it slide, pretty much.
It turned to a process leader.
Yeah.
But he shut them up. Play on the.
But yeah, I mean,
Are you saying that we need to have a homosexual all-star?
Hey, if they could.
Is that what you're saying? That's what we're lacking? We need a superstar soccer player to come out of the closet.
If they could take a dick in the eyes, they could take an insult. He's good. He shouldn't be as typical.
Boy, John's really going to be disappointed in us if he listens to this. He's going to reprimand us all.
Oh.
All I'm going to say is that I think that I know it's a global world, but I think it's wrong to impose one's views on another, because we both know, use the word like El Negro Medina or El Negro Cantante, or we use Moreno, we use El Gordo, El Flaco, stuff like this. So, maybe a Mexican American that doesn't have that much, I guess, exposure to Mexico or Latin American, stuff like that, they may see that as offensive because, oh my God, they call me negro or whatever. So, but, you're saying it like you're in Mexico, you're in Latin America, you're saying it with the term of endearment, as opposed to, a hateful, that black guy or whatever,
Yeah, you know what, Ron?
Yes and no, Ron. Because, I'm sorry, dude. Calling Oribe Peralta el Hermoso is fucked up. There's nothing fucking endearing about that. There's nothing endearing about that. Come on. It's funny. Yeah. I mean, when I first heard it, it's like the irony is thick. It's funny. It's super ironic. But let's not pretend that it's nice and that, like, I'm sure he does not like the moniker. La Chilindrina hated that moniker. So it's not like it's just. Is the culture? Do we like to razz people? Yes, but it's not widely like just generally globally accepted. There's a meanness to it too.
I think when they're talking about it, Hermoso, they were talking about because the guy's he likes to dress well and he's a bit of a independent of how he looks.
No, it was definitely them being ironic.
I think that's fine though. I think growing up and having tough skin and getting not severely bullied, but getting picked on is something that happens and something that's it's fine in life. You get you through.
I disagree. I mean, not everybody's wired the same. I'll just say that much. I don't think
that also
I'm just saying, like, I don't think that just because one person's ability to withstand shit talking or bullying is greater than someone else's, that it makes it okay.
Yeah, it doesn't make it.
But you have. It's not saying it's okay, but you have to admit that it serves your interest to develop thicker skin and to not show people.
Of course, but I'm not gonna force, like you said, I'm not gonna force someone to have thicker skin.
Mm-hmm.
I can't force them to like not be offended by something.
You can't do that. Of course.
No, I know,
what I can do is control my own behavior. I said, like, I was guilty of saying the chant. I've seen the light, so to speak. I realize that it's wrong. I realize that that offends people, so I won't do it again.
The point that I sort of am making is I don't think that someone should say or even fine Univision broadcasters for calling Oribe Hermoso. I think that should continue on, unless he comes out and says, "Can you guys please stop it?" Then sure, go ahead. But if opposing fans want to call him Hermoso, then I'll be.
I was just making the point that while people are saying something, Ronnie was trying to say, or maybe Joel was saying that it was kind of like it's all in good nature. But I'm like, no, that's just mean, dude. Like you're
Well,
calling
you know,
someone who's literally kind of unattractive, who's unattractive, especially his before he got cleaned up and before America's like PR people like got their dazzling
Well, that's what
like
rivalries is about.
cosmetologist hands on him. You know, before that he had the funky grill, he had the ugly hairstyle, he had the awkward. He's awkward already. Like on there, like he doesn't look like an athlete. He doesn't run like
Damn.
someone who you. No, I
That's
mean,
what
like
rivalry is about, though.
everything about him is ugly. I'm his biggest fan, dude. I mean, he's one of my favorite players of all time. I'm a Santos fan, dude. He's one of my favorite players of all time. Dude is ugly.
That's what
Like I'm not
rivalry
like
is about.
let's not BS.
Like rival teams.
That moniker is just mean spirited.
Rival
It's just
teams.
mean. Like there's, I mean, it's funny, but let's not pretend to say, hey man, we're doing this because we like you. No,
Them practically saying his face.
that actually came up as like an insult to him because people were so butthurt when he initially got called up because they didn't like him because he was ugly, because he was unathletic, because he's awkward on the ball and just looked weird. Doesn't have that beautiful striker, you know, Luca Toni type of body that just like, you know, that's just like, oh man, this guy's a stud.
Yeah.
No, like everything about him. So they called him El Hermoso, like 100% to be ironic, you know, and it's fun, you know, like it is easily one of the funniest things that I've heard.
You know, it's
as far as
interesting.
nicknames.
It's interesting you mention all that because I would like to hear like his take on
El
that.
Primitivo.
You know?
I'm sure he likes being called
Oh
that.
man, Primi looked like his face was on fire, and like the only thing to put it off was the wet brick. That guy's pretty bad.
So
he got it bad, man.
Sorry.
yeah, look, man, like when you could laugh at them, dude. Like I agree, man. They're funny, but man, they're mean, dude. Like I would never call someone like that to their face. Like so, for someone to just like, I'm just gonna throw that out there, you know, for the world to just
I got a question, though.
digest and regurgitate.
I got a question for you, Dan.
Yeah.
Would you, if you ever met David Falteson, would you tell him how do you like that gran golpiza que le dio?
I was about to ask you, Dan.
¿Qué tal con el putazo que te dio Cuauhtémoc?
Oh man.
No,
Chiquis, didn't you have some audio on that?
Yeah, can you? We need to give our viewers, our listeners, the backdrop on this, though.
Okay.
About the Falteson.
Doesn't everybody know this already?
I know, clearly not.
Oh, okay. Okay, no, you're probably right.
I was pretty new to it myself, Dad.
So explain it while I queue up this clip.
All right. Well, back in I think it was in 03, 04. Around there between 2002 2004, America played in Veracruz, and that was around the time where TV Azteca, Jose Ramon, and David Falteson and Andres Marin were really attacking Cuauhtémoc Blanco. Match. They were having the press, like the presser reports and stuff like that. But there was a window. There's a wall, and there was a window above. And David Falteson was leaning back, translucent window where you could see Cuauhtémoc Blanco leaning over, and he saw that that Falteson was leaning up against the wall. Not thinking it, boom, he hits him, right? And obviously, it was a cowardly thing to do. You know, you're not supposed to. As much as I hated, as much as I disliked that guy and stuff like that, you don't hit the press. You don't physically, attack them. But over the years and stuff like that, Blanco, he offered his apologies, and they actually tend to laugh about it. Both Falteson and Cuauhtémoc Blanco. But what I guess is humorous, at least for me, is that even after these 15 plus years after it's happened, they still tend to remind Falteson about getting hit, and so every time that David Falteson tweets anything, usually the first response is that they make reference to the day that he got hit by Cuauhtémoc Blanco, but But what's really, I guess, well, for some funny, but it's kind of pretty genius is that how tie in what he's saying and make reference to the day that he got, assaulted by Cuauhtemoc Blanco. So I remember a couple. When did I tell you about this? Like a couple months ago, guys.
Yeah.
Podcast, and I remember I told you guys because I started noticing this. Well, there is a famous comedian, and by the way, I'm happy that Netflix is having a lot of Mexican comedians, because the whole comic scene is something that really the culture really have. Although we've had Polo Polo and stuff like that, but as far as like here in the U.S., the whole stand-up comic has been a lot, thriving for decades. It's something that really hasn't been thriving in Mexico. But anyhow, Mexican comic Franco Escamilla, I think he took notice of the tweets that Faitelson was receiving, and he put it up in one of his stand-up routines, which I didn't even know until brought it to my attention. So, Chiquis, if you could do us the honors.
Oh, the Escamilla.
Yeah, the Escamilla.
A ver. Y cada que David Faitelson tuitea algo, cada que postea un tuit diciendo, por ejemplo, en la pelea de Canelo contra Triple G, qué buena pelea tuvimos el día de hoy, y la banda empieza a comentar, bueno, el putazo que te metió Cuauhtemoc. ¡Wow! Se los juro que yo sigo a David Faitelson nada más para ver qué le ponen. Te lo juro que ya es para mí una tradición muy linda levantarme, despertarme y buscar en su Twitter y se mamaron. Porque a veces son cosas que ni al caso, mis hermanos, ni al caso. El vato puede poner, qué linda mañana hoy para ver Fórmula 1 en la raza, linda la madriza que te puso. Pone Faitelson, México tiene que levantarse como país, te levantaron los cachetes del chingadazo. Lo que sea que él ponga, mis hermanos. Y creo yo que esta tradición tiene una caducidad. Todo esto se puede acabar algún día, muy fácil. David Faitelson solamente tiene que tuitear. Qué buen putazo me puso Cuauhtemoc. Y sus haters van a decir como que chingas a tu madre, ¿no? Solo tiene que, cualquier cosa que tuitee, México ganó 2-0 y qué buen putazo me puso Cuauhtemoc. Y ya la raza no tiene nada que ponerle. Es más, que haga un video, güey, que lo circule por Facebook y WhatsApp, ¿no? Narrándolo a su manera, ¿no? La mañana estaba llegando. Y el puño de Cuauhtemoc levantaba mis mejillas hacia el horizonte.
Oh, man.
It's actually pretty good, man.
It's brilliant.
It's an imitation. That was pretty hilarious.
I don't think Faitelson has even blocked. Been blocking or deleting.
No,
the
because
people.
he's a smart guy. He's a smart guy. He knows that it's all it's all helpful.
Promotion for him. Yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
He's joked about it. But he's joked about it. On a couple of shows in on Football or Línea de Cuatro, whatever the shows are that he has during the day.
Well, it wasn't even a good shot, so I mean, I'd be able to laugh about it too. It's not like it hurt him. It was kind of a weak shot, like at least from what I've seen.
It was a weak shot. That also makes it funny. But when the whole the unfortunate thing that happened in Mexico, with the earthquake and the U.S. Spanish networks all got together for when they were trying to raise funds for
for the victims, yeah,
for the victims and stuff. There was a bit when Faitelson. No, I'm sorry. That wasn't the one. There was at Fútbol Picante. They had Pedro Peláez, José Ramón, David Faitelson, and they invited Cuauhtemoc Blanco. And David Faitelson said that he went to Club America's president, who at the time was Javier Pérez Teuffer, told him what happened, and Pérez Teuffer answered, "Ya te tocaba, gordito." And I was like, "Oh my God, that is cold, dude." Because Faitelson was expecting, Mr. Faitelson, will and stuff like that. But no, Pérez Teuffer, nah, ya te tocaba, gordito. And I was like, that was cold, man. Because back then, dude, I mean, TV Azteca, especially Faitelson and Jose Ramon, man, they used to really go after Cuauhtemoc in America. But, talking about it, 15 years after the fact,
Yeah, so we'll see if Faitelson takes up his advice and ends it.
Yeah, but I've noticed, I've noticed a lot of the tweet, the responses saying, "I'm here because of Franco Escamilla." So apparently, people have watched his stand up and somehow got, started researching the Faitelson, the tweets, because I know that he's got more followers because of it.
Yeah, I added him trying to get one in, but those guys are on it, man.
Oh, the one
It's
today,
like they're just waiting for him to tweet.
The one today was brilliant.
Not only that, though, I mean, if you're going to be one of the new guys that are doing it, yeah, you have to be real quick. You probably have to set alerts, and be checking them. But also, you have to come up with something really good, man, because otherwise,
but yeah, you got dudes posting pictures now of
they've gone really good. I mean, they've gone really good, and it's like, for example, the one today where Faitelson tweets about the TAS, the tribunal arbitration sport, the thing about, how Mexico's, how FIFA.
Did they use TAS like onomatopoeia?
Yeah, like TAS fue el sonido que. It's like TAS fue el sonido que sonó cuando te dio el putazo el Divo de Tepito, And it's like, oh, geez.
TAS definitely begs to be used like that.
But like I said, I think you're right, Dan. I think Faitelson is smart, and I think he's using this to his advantage, because isn't there, like, when you get X amount of followers, I mean, don't you get monetized, or don't you get paid for that? Like on Twitter?
Yeah,
I don't know.
No, you do, man. Once you're at a certain amount and you're creating X amount of traffic, you can start getting paid.
So what's Beto doing? What's Beto doing with all the money?
That's right, Chiquis. I don't know what.
Are you holding out on this man?
He always has new microphones, new.
He's always taking trips.
Are you funding?
He's always traveling.
Are you gonna fund your Russia trip?
Yeah. My GoFundMe, my Patreon, and all that.
Patreon. Our Patreon is bring us some chelas, and we'll talk about your shitty team until we run out of beer.
Alrighty. So continue on.
Good luck to them, though. I wasn't trying to hate, actually.
We're not either.
I'm like, honestly, I wasn't trying to.
Yeah. I don't know. Before going on, well, I guess we'll go on. The CONCACAF League of Nations.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
So that's going to happen next year.
September, I believe, right now.
September 2018. The match days replace friendlies potentially, which I think is good, except for the friendlies with South American countries. I'd rather see that than this would include CONCACAF, of course, Central American teams, Caribbean teams, and then, of course, the North American. So what are you guys' thoughts on this? I'm not too impressed. Not real excited.
Well, I don't think there was much of a choice, simply because Europe was the first to do a League of Nations, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, CONMEBOL might do the same, and so at this point, you were just going to be limited as to what teams you could play, especially when they're doing it on the official match dates. I mean, Mexico being Mexico, they do Molero, so they could still play against other teams. So I mean, that's just the way of, the way football is changing, even with the World Cup going to 48 teams. So I mean, who knows, man? I'll let it run its course before judging more on it. But I think part of it is because I think World Cup qualifying, is not going to be as competitive, with more tickets available now. So World Cup qualifying just got watered down. So I think a League of Nations it's another way of keeping some of the games more competitive.
I'm wondering how the FMX is going to recoup their money, because I mean they for many years now they're used to making over 100,000, over 100 million within a 4-year World Cup cycle. Because they play these quote unquote Moleto, games and the contracts that they have with some Soccer United marketing. So, I mean, I haven't heard or I haven't read anything from the FMX, officials that, like before, I remember, reading club owners and stuff like that when they were against, like the format of the Champions League, CONCACAF League, Cup or stuff like that. But, I haven't heard or read anything from the FMX owners or regarding this, if it's going to be beneficial to them or not. So I'm wondering how they're going to make their money, because, I mean, the money that they were making off the Moletos, that's what was, financing the youth and obviously now the women's. And so it's going to be interesting to see how this is going to play out in the years to come.
Yeah, so an article says that it'll feature 41 member associations. The dates and schedule, format, and stuff will be announced next year. It will serve as a qualifying competition for the CONCACAF Gold Cup and will feed into a ranking system that will be used for seeding in the World Cup qualifying. The competition is expected to benefit smaller countries in the Caribbean and Central America who rarely play matches outside of official competition. Now, so are we going to see Mexican Z teams playing this thing? Well, I guess there is some implication for qualifying, but
I'm trying to. I mean, is this going to be home and away? I mean, if it's a league format, it should be home and away, correct?
Yeah, I believe it is, Ron.
I'm looking at on the CONCACAF website. They had a CONCACAF League of Nations frequently asked questions, so they have a PDF.
I guess it's like this is going on in UEFA and other confederations.
So what's the difference between that and say the Gold Cup? Is it like a full-on league where everybody plays everybody?
Well, this is going to serve as almost like a qualifier for the Gold Cup.
Yeah, it would be a league. There was even let me see where it talks about.
It's going to be 3 leagues. It's going to be 3 leagues based on rankings with promotion and relegation.
Well, I already saw what would be the one league with Mexico, and it's basically the Hex and the teams that failed to qualify to the. It's a lot of the same teams,
So add Jamaica, El Salvador.
Let me look for it. Let me look for it for you, Dano.
I'm just assuming that those would be the teams.
Oh, you're pretty.
Haiti.
It's Curaçao, I believe.
Curaçao. Oh yeah, me and John are fans.
Like for example, they were saying here on the frequently asked questions, it gives an example. Like
I will say, Joel, they were the nicest of the journos that I met.
Oh, Curaçao.
While we were waiting to get our accreditation, they were the coolest. I thought they were kind of happy to talk, I guess. Anyways, go on.
It will be divided into 3 divisions based on sporting level with promotion and relegation between the divisions.
Another thing that it says here is this the end of friendlies between CONCACAF teams and those from other confederations? It says here, while the opportunities for friendlies within the FIFA international match calendar will be limited, there will still be space for these type of encounters. In broader terms, the League of Nations aligns CONCACAF with the general movement in the world of international football away from low stakes friendly matches. So, I mean, is this the death of some? I mean, is this?
Oh man, that's a it might be, man. It might be unless they figured a way to organize it. This is so this is the teams that based on rankings, this would be the 14 teams. So Mexico, Costa Rica, USA, Panama, Haiti, Jamaica, Honduras, Trinidad and Tobago, Curacao, Canada, El Salvador, St. Kitts and Nevis, Nicaragua, and Suriname. Pretty much a hex, and some of the teams that failed to make it. But one positive is the more you play each other, I think it will build up more rivalry in the region, which is sorely needed.
More rivalries between.
I was gonna say, Ronnie, that soon they, I believe, aren't they working on a eliminated tournament, like a tournament of the eliminated?
I read about that. I don't know how true that is, though. I mean, you know,
Yeah,
I
sounds like a
honestly,
meme.
I don't think, you know,
Sounds awful.
Italy, they're not gonna lend themselves to that, you know.
Yeah.
To the
Yes,
indignity of it all. Yes,
especially when all those teams usually get offers to play anyways, because like say that you might draw Mexico, you're gonna want to play teams from this area. So even a lot of times teams that didn't qualify, you'll still play them just to see. I don't know if you guys noticed that.
No,
Yes.
national team.
Let's play Honduras. They're in CONCACAF, so they'll resemble Mexico.
Yeah.
You see a lot of that. Yeah.
I don't see Chile. I don't see Italy. I don't see the Netherlands lending themselves to some shit show. You know,
pity party.
I don't. I mean, that's. I don't know if you guys remember, but there used to be a liguilla for in Mexico for the teams, you know, that were going into relegation, and it was kind of like the playoffs for the losers, you know. And this is actually before, you know, I was into the league. This is something that happened, if I'm not mistaken, in the 70s and early 80s, so I still wasn't a fan then. But from what I've been told, those games used to be pretty exciting affairs. And it's funny because it's like, you know, when I first heard or read about, you know, the consolation World Cup, you know, between Chile and all those, it's like, nah, these teams are not going to lend themselves to it. But then I was, well, it wouldn't be the worst thing. I mean, if it's like, I was thinking about the Liga MX, you know, relegation playoffs, and it's like, well, maybe they could be pretty interesting matches, you know, where they're trying to fight for their lives, but I mean, they don't have anything they don't have any skin in the game, you know. There's nothing to fight for. I don't know. I hope it doesn't happen. I think you're better off just, you know, those national teams. They gotta go back to the drawing board.
I'm just saying. I'm thinking, how are they going to be making a lot of money off this? I don't know. I'm just thinking, like, are they really going to be able to sell out a bunch of stadiums? I mean, I'm sure in Mexico, as long as they hold it away outside of El DF, I think they could fill it up. Because
well, I mean, to answer your question, Dan, part of it is because it's in a FIFA date, so you're bringing in your top players. So and you know, like at least for Mexico, fans don't care who they play. They'll go see them. And if on FIFA Day, so you're gonna be getting the top players. You're gonna be able to see the top players. And for the small teams, I guess, because they're facing some decent competition for once. So I mean, I think that's how they'll make the.
Because I just think Mexico benefited friendlies here. I know a lot of people. It is helping fund the youth systems
Well, yeah, I bet Mexico will probably still have their games in the
for the most
U.S.
part.
Yeah, I could see Mexico having their games here.
Well, some keep in mind they're the marketing arm of Major League Soccer, but I don't see or I don't know how they're going to be relevant now with this League of Nations, League of CONCACAF, tournament. What is it called again? The
League of Nations.
League of Nations, yeah, League of Nations. I don't see they're relevant.
Alrighty. So continuing on, the something that was interesting to me last night was Rayados versus America. That was pretty
For the Copa, went
to
to penalty.
To go to the final for Copa MX. They went to penalties, and the field was in Monterrey was pretty bad. But of course, they're playing on the same field. Monterrey is having the same issues. But Cecilio Dominguez goes for a penalty kick, and his plant foot pretty much lifts the ball, bounces the ball up in the air, and he just it launches it into orbit.
It did. It's no excuse because it's no excuse. I mean, obviously, the Tigres were able to capitalize. America was not, but
yeah.
Why don't they switch to just to make sure that doesn't happen? Wouldn't you just maybe put on on one foot, like your planting foot, just super long spikes?
Oh, but the grass was so messed up.
It was. It was really
bad. The only way to solve it from a kicker standpoint is to not plant so hard and sort of run into the ball. But most players plant so hard on their left foot or right foot that in this case it lifted up the grass and bounced the ball up in the air, and he pretty much kicked it with a shin and just launched it. And then they fell on the ground and complained. And it was weird because the ref, not after Cecilio's kick, but the next guy, he actually pointed and said, "Okay, we're moving to the other side of the field." And then people complained, and then they ended up just staying on that end of the field and finishing it off. And Linus missed a kick, and they ended up losing. So,
well, I do think keeping it there was probably the most fair thing to do.
Yeah, I agree. And it was interesting. Miguel Herrera didn't complain too much. He, I guess he knew America didn't really play well. And
keep in mind, America, he got criticized for this, but Herrera really wanted this tournament to begin with. Because he did make a good point that before the Copa MX at least had you were playing for something. You were playing for the Copa Libertadores. Now you're not really playing for anything. So I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
I think that this would be a great win for Monterrey and for Mohamed, because then if he goes into league and wins that's way more impressive than Matias Almeida winning 2 Copa MX and then a league, because it wasn't in the same year with the league, I don't believe. So the whole flavor of the week comes back into question. Like Almeida was, Almeida needs to go to the national team and all this talk. And now Mohamed is if he wins Copa MX and then league, he's for sure.
Yeah. But and Mohamed already has 2 league titles. So this will be his third with his third team. Yeah, I see Almeida was getting a lot of praise, mainly from my Chiva hermanos. But, if you were to compare him to Turco and even to Piojo, he's not at their level. They've been far more consistent. Despite winning the Copa MX in league play, Almeida hasn't been that. His numbers haven't been that good. This is the second time he fails to qualify to league. So, just because I think there might be a race for the.
Do you guys think winning the league should be a prerequisite to coach the national team?
I think if you're a Mexico coach, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're based in Mexico, then yeah. And it's pretty much been the case, for the longest time. Like
Because
the
I'm just
people
thinking
going
of
in.
somebody like what is it, Rafael Puente Jr.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think when you're able to do something like that, that to me is pretty impressive.
Yeah, but then you jump to a big team. You don't just go directly to the selección. You know.
Yeah, because I understand what you're saying, Dan, but keep in mind with the national team, you have a lot more egos, and you're having to manage a lot more egos. And don't get me wrong, I've said it since day one. I think what Rafa Puente did, taking the team and going up a division, I think that's amazing, especially in Mexico. And I hope
the fact that they've competed relatively well with the limited resources that they have.
Yeah, it is amazing. It really is amazing. But again, I think with the national team, I think you have to have a manager that also knows how to manage a lot of
egos.
Yeah.
No, I get that personalities, because you're not really teaching them how to play at that point.
No,
when you're going to America, you're not teaching them. You're not really teaching them at that point. You're managing them to a large extent. So.
Yeah, and Dan, to go to that point that Profe Cambiarrayas was making earlier, how De Bruyne, or however you say his name, they didn't really like the coaching on his team, and he's kind of, because he's working with Pep, so he's bringing the high niveles, and you're gonna get that too, with the selección, when you're gonna have players like kind of react that way, especially when you have the bulk of the national team in Europe now, and so then there might be some of that too.
I just remember thinking like Piojo. I always remember him as being a bit of a bombero.
Oh.
like before he went to America, like he never won anything, right? He was basically.
Atlante,
I just remember him going to teams.
And was it Monterrey?
He was with Tecos, Atlante,
as a
coach, and he also, I think, if I'm not mistaken, he also went to 2 finals, lost 2 finals. In fact, one of them was against a really like Chiqui Dracula, was horrible, absolutely horrible. I think he had ejected like 3 players from Monterrey. I think they lost to Pachuca.
Wait, Ron, let me give you the rundown.
Yeah.
So from 2002 to 2004, he was at Atlante, and then from 2004 to 2007, Monterrey. He had a brief stint at Veracruz, and then he went to Tecos for 2 years, and then he returned to Atlante for 1 year, then America, then the national team, Tijuana, and now he's back at America. So man, he's been at it since 2002. And yeah, he only has one league title though.
Yeah, so Mohamed, I think he's going to win one of the 2, if not both. I'd like to see him win both.
I'm predicting a flop on both.
Oh snap!
Well, who would play?
Maybe the Copa, but I don't think they'll take the league.
The other 2 teams on the Copa are, what is it, Pachuca and Cholos? Oh no, it's Pachuca and Atlante. So it could be a Pachuca. I would think it'd be a Pachuca Monterrey final.
Yeah, they're favorites. Whoever it is, of those 2, Monterrey is definitely favorites.
And Pachuca is not in the playoffs, right? Or
yeah.
I
think they failed.
I think so. I think that does help them in a sense, because it's really all they have to play for.
Yeah, they're in 12.
But before they take off. So, yeah, that's why I kind of give them a chance. And then, Monterrey's hasn't really proven that they could put it all together. They've had some pretty great seasons in the past where they've completely flopped in the Liga. So having to compete in both, and I know that the pressure's got to be there to win something, especially after having the season they've had. It wouldn't surprise me if they choked on both.
Yeah, Pachuca's eliminated. They have 18 points. They're in 12th place. So even if they win their last match, it won't be enough to catch up to 8th place.
Yeah, I think the last team,
Atlas,
the last team is
24.
Cholos, who's got a ridiculously slim chance.
So
you probably could even remove them from the equation too. They're
Cholos?
Yeah.
No, Tijuana has 21 points.
I know, but they need like a serious miracle, something like a 9-goal differential, like they could win by 9, and they need everybody else to lose that's ahead of them. So it's like, for all intents and purposes, they're out.
They got -4 goals. Yeah, because of that.
Cruz Azul still has a chance. Hopefully they get in. I want to see them get in.
Well, yeah, but then they also have a -1 goal. So if Atlas
I think
wins,
all they have to do is win.
No, Atlas is above them.
Speaking of Cruz Azul, is Chelito Delgado going back to the team? I thought I saw something about.
Playing.
Yes, that's what I thought. I thought I saw a tweet or something about it.
He was selling empanadas or something.
You know what, man? He was one of my favorites, man. He was awesome.
He was awesome during the regular season, and then once Liguilla came around, he just, disappeared.
Yeah, but they've got to get back into the league, man.
Oh, man, so he had been suspended for 1 year for doping.
Chelito?
Yeah.
Oh, shit, I didn't know.
He was playing in Argentina, Rosario Central, where he originally came from. But, in August of this year, he said he would like to retire in Cruz Azul. Give me that fat check. He pretty much wants to retire here, Yeah, he wants to come back. Who knows if they'll let him.
Legend.
Cartucho quemado, man.
Yeah, we don't need that stuff.
Cruz Azul, man. They've had their delanteros have all been cartuchos quemados, dude. Cartelucho quemado is the last guy.
Yeah. One thing that's annoyed me is apparently in Monterrey, they're not going to allow fans to wear their jersey because the Monterrey fans are so silvestres. Apparently they end up brawling and fighting and causing all kinds of violence. So
I think alcohol will have more to do than the jersey, but that's just me.
Oh, so you're with me on the morality of alcohol, and it's
Oh man, wait, just.
Well, there's responsibility when it comes to serving alcohol, and I do think that security should be kicking out that belligerents. They shouldn't be allowed to stay in the stadium. It freaks everybody out. I know it freaks me out, man. I hate it. Like,
I don't like really being around drunks. So it's like, for me,
that's what I'm saying. Like, no one wants to be around someone who's like completely wasted like that. So I think if someone's already like that at the stadium, just kick them out. It's like, sorry, you gotta. And they could easily implement some kind of ordinance like that, but they want to make the money off beer sales, so they'll continue to sell. But it's irresponsible.
Don't they lower the alcohol content at beer sold at like assembly places?
Maybe at events you're catering, where you water down the beer.
the alcohol.
Well, that's for profit margins, but that's neither here nor there.
Oh, okay.
No. I wish, Dan. I wish, man. But you need beaucoup cash to get the
beer license. No, I know.
What?
Yeah, especially up here, dude.
Did you say Buntu cash?
Beaucoup.
Oh, what is that?
Too big.
It's too beaucoup.
Too big. Too much.
All right.
Dan recognizes that.
Too substantive.
That was from from
Full Metal
Jacket. Does it ring a bell, Hoyd?
I've seen that, but it's been a while, man.
It's the scene in Vietnam.
Yeah, when they're the scene in Vietnam
with the
when
prostitute.
and they were trying to get the batting lineup.
Anyways,
Bad,
moving on.
Yeah.
Beto's gonna be offended by this.
Oh, snap.
Well,
Chiquis.
I'm sitting here.
Earmuffs,
inappropriate.
Chiquis. Earmuffs.
It's inappropriate.
We just say earmuffs and then Chiquis knows covers it.
I only watch rated G movies.
Cock. Balls. Sorry.
Oh, dude.
That's another one of my favorite movies.
Well, I guess it's getting to be that time. So, do you guys have any other things you want?
Last call, Chiquis.
Yeah, last hot take.
I'll go. Yeah. Last thing, just since I'm alone and I don't have John's support, I'll happily be the sunshine pumper.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna figure that one out to say it quicker. But yeah, reason to be happy, reason to be hopeful with the national team. And yeah, I'm gonna stick to my guns, man. Down with Rayados. I hope they fail. I'm not gonna lie. I'm hoping there's a hope factor in there too. It's not just what I think. I'm hoping.
Yeah, I would say this. I would say the same as a partial Tigres fan. Out of the two, I prefer Tigres, but
and that'd be an ultimate troll too.
Yeah, I wouldn't have no problem trolling as well if Tigres does win. But I somewhat have I think it's my despise for all the fanboyism behind Almeida. I actually want to see him do well. But so yeah, that's sort of a weird reason to want Monterrey to win Copa and Liga, but there you go. As far as
okay, so because you want Mohamed to outdo Almeida.
Yeah, I want Almeida to sort of be, and maybe it's yeah. I just
it's funny you mentioned that. You know, the America fans have the whole Odian de Masa thing going for them, but I gotta say, at least in my personal experience, Chivistas tend to get under my skin a whole lot more.
Oh, I had no idea that.
Not you, Joel. Not you.
Oh.
You, if anything, you keep it a little too real. Maybe actually, like, you go past it to the other side of, like, not real. But
no, I see what you mean. There is a Chivas hype machine, and we do tend to exaggerate.
It's funny though. Like, and I don't see this happening with anybody else though. And maybe because it's all a Mexican team, but every time you discuss the national team, whatever hole the team has, it's always like suggested to be filled with Chivas players, and that just like I'm like that can't be the only solution.
Are Regal's ears tingling?
They should be, because I was definitely thinking about him.
Yeah.
Oh man, no, I'm gonna be last take for me. Obviously, it's Cruz Azul. I think kind of feel for their fan base, man. They've been put through the ringer. It's almost like that meme where it's like, stop hitting him, it's already dead, or he's not even moving anymore. So it's almost to that point with Cruz Azul now, man. It's like, but yeah, they should qualify because playing at home against Veracruz, who has lost, I think their last 6 away games have all been defeats. It's kind of funny because this could be like their, the one where they break that, they break the streak. But yeah, if they don't make Liguilla, it'll be like a really big fracaso, and who knows what might happen. What the big news going out today, and at least this week, is that Cruz Azul already signed Caixinha. Paco Gemes' contract ends at the end of the season, so it looks like they're not renewing him. he just had a bit too many problems. He would. I don't know if you guys remember when he challenged I don't know if it was another coach or a periodista to meet up in some corner so they could fight. And he always had like outbursts. And one of his last ones was when he said Cruz Azul was not a big team. So I mean, I think the James experiment is over. So Caixinha already coming in. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with Cruz Azul this week. With my Chivas eliminated, that's where my
Did Paco Helms already get booted?
No, but they're not renewing him.
Did they already say that?
They haven't said it officially, but the Caixinha rumors, man, they've been a couple weeks, and today I think some newspaper from Scotland was saying that it was a done deal that he's already signed with Cruz Azul.
Yeah, I'd like to see Cruz Azul do well and get in and at least compete a little bit.
Yeah, at least make Liguilla. Oh man, I think that would be a victory for their fans, which just shows how much they've fallen. You know, they went from losing finals to not even qualifying to Liguilla. So yeah, that team's been.
James just couldn't take the heat, man. He couldn't take the pressure and the bullying. He got bullied.
Yeah, and they messed up with some of their signings.
I think it was the losing. I mean, he probably thought that since he was able to maybe bat above his weight in La Liga, he thought that he'd be able to.
Oh yeah.
Come down here and maybe not cruise, but thought it's like, oh, and I'm gonna go to one of the big teams who's been struggling. I'm sure I could turn that around, easy. And and I'm sure he had that confidence, but I think people outsiders are probably surprised by just how competitive the entire league is, where it makes winning really hard because the differences are minuscule.
Yeah, there's been really great coaches that have come to Liga MX, and they've always said that the level of competition is pretty good. So I think it's funny how most Mexicans just don't value the league as much.
Well, there you go. Honiberto, do you have any last thoughts? Ronaldinho.
Regarding Liga MX?
Anything before we finalize this show?
Yeah, it's actually, in fact, I was talking to Joel about this before the show. One of the things that I've been reading a lot, in social media, on Facebook and Twitter, is, and obviously with the U.S. out of the World Cup, obviously people are trying to, make sense of why they're not why they didn't qualify and stuff like that. And for me personally, I think that it seems like there's, especially, from what I've read, and there's been a lot of tweets and Facebook posts that I've read, that they're blaming the pay-to-play system, the whole club format that the U.S. has. And granted, I'll be the first one to admit that at least to develop players. But it seems like one of the things that I've read, which I don't see the basis for, is that they've either tried to politicize U.S. soccer and how they develop players. Because then, like one of the tweets that I read, they were talking about now that the U.S. soccer are administered, by rich white men from the suburbs and stuff like that, and I think that's unfair because the U.S. in general, like the U.S., what they've done is they play, more people play organized soccer in this country than any other country in the world. And then part of it is because of, the system that they've had before. And let's be honest, I mean, the U.S. in the span of 20 years became a top 20 team, and that's not easy to do. And I think that some of them will rather just burn Rome and start new than to see what works and what doesn't work. Because, and I know, and I've told this many times, it's like I wish that Mexico had the secondary and the high school sporting culture that the U.S. has, because Mexico doesn't have that, in terms of junior high and high school and how they, because for example, like how the NFL and NBA and MLB, how they are able to get talent. And I understand that developing a Major League Baseball player, developing an NBA player or an NFL player is a lot different than developing a soccer player. Hugo Sanchez, once said that one of the reasons why he thinks that he was able to succeed so early on is because before he ever played one professional match with Pumas, he already had over, I want to say, over 50 international games under his belt. And I think that, the club format has allowed, or did allow, a lot of players international, because traveling is expensive. So what is your take on that, Beto?
I sort of agree. I've seen a lot of tweets, I think the same ones you have, and it's sort of been annoying me, because I see the deficiencies in a different, and I've expressed them on the show from a different point of view. And I've actually replied to a few people, which normally I don't, and maybe people won't like me anymore because of that. But I think the emphasis that I'm seeing is that the poor kids who are being slipping through the cracks or not getting a chance to play in these high-priced clubs and traveling teams need the opportunity.
And you know what, Beto? It's interesting you bring it up, because I had told Ron with the whole slipping through the cracks, and a lot of times it's just poor organization on our part. Like if you live like in the inner city, we just lack that sense to organize, to find the right venues to be connected. You know what I mean? Because I know people that will start leagues, like Sunday leagues, and they go out and they rent the fields, and they get the teams, and they get the people to pay for refs, and but they do that sort of as a part-time job type of thing, where they're making money just to organize the event, and but we don't really have where we think further ahead, where we say, okay, how can we organize with USSF, or get, what do we need to do to get our teams to qualify and go play in these other tournaments that are more likely to get scouted. So I think that's one of the reasons too, is like in these areas where we just don't see it that way, and we'll get stuck playing Sunday leagues, or ligas llaneras, or just cascaritas. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even yeah, and I would tell the kids. I'm sorry, Ron. I'm just gonna finish right quick. And I'll tell the kids that I knew, like where I go cascarear, and I'll tell them, how come you're not playing in the high school team? And it's like, because if you want to get noticed, or you want to get like a scholarship, you're not gonna get it playing in a Sunday league. That is, that some random dude out of his garage organized. But if you're in the school system and your team makes it, makes it far, you're more likely to get noted and scouted. And a lot of kids wouldn't even prioritize the whole playing in school. And sometimes they would even see it as not worth it.
I think the traveling team is a little bit more visibility, and that's where the issue. Like school, you can go and the poor or the people without resources can go and do well in school, high school.
Yeah,
soccer.
but let me just right there real quick. Even if you're the parents, and even if you're poor, you could look for schools that have good programs and try to get your kid, because they do bus kids out to other districts. So I mean, a lot of times it just comes down to doing your homework,
But here's the thing. Like for example, I'm in graduate school now, right? And I know some of the soccer players that are at the collegiate level, on the team, and it's not. I think what is it? I think I go to Division II school. Well, anyhow, some of these guys, and I talked to them about their experiences and stuff like that, and they're, some of them did come from the inner city. Some of them, most of them were from the suburb, but some of them were from the inner cities, and they went to and they played in their high schools and stuff. But for me, I think what bothers me, and kind of like what Beto said, is that it bothers me that just because, okay, granted, it's a massive failure with the U.S. not qualifying to the World Cup, but for me to just I guess nitpick certain things that really have nothing to do as to why the U.S. failed, in regarding as to like pay to play club thing. It's like you need money to travel and stuff like that, and obviously, like for example the Dallas Cup, and I mean a lot of these kids, they were playing in Argentina, they played in Mexico, they played in the U.S. I mean, the U.S. became a top 20 team in less than 20 years. I think that's amazing. Yeah, but I don't think that they should need to burn Rome just because of this one failure. Another tweet that I saw that, how they're criticizing, Bruce Arena, dude. Bruce Arena has done so much for U.S. soccer, dude. And it's like right now it seems like he's persona non grata. He's not the problem, at least in my opinion. What's that?
Yeah, I agree. From the fans, though, like the whole when he went on Fox to talk about the game against Portugal, people were outraged at that. How can Taylor Twellman, outraged that this guy would be announcing there after losing the World Cup, failing to go to the World Cup. Who is this guy to talk and all this stuff? After 2002, what he did there, after what he did, I think in 06.
What he's done in college, what he's done in college at the collegiate level, what he's done at MLS, what he's done with the national team.
Yeah, with this, he won with DC United when MLS was just starting, like in its first years, and he won the what was it called? They beat Vasco da Gama.
Yeah,
they beat Vasco da Gama, man. So I mean,
well, even more recently,
prestige to your league back then.
Recently, though, they were. I think for the most part, they were happy that he came in to replace Klinsmann. They thought he was going to come and be the savior and rescue the team.
Well, yeah, and he did win them a gold cup.
All of a sudden,
here's the thing, though, and I think this is where MLS needs to step in. Not so much the USSF, but I think MLS needs to do what like Liga MX and Argentina stuff like that, and have their fuerzas back as their youth, where they can get guys,
Hey guys, I got to drop off, man. Have a good one, guys. Sorry about that.
Right, later,
Dan.
Good night. And I think I would still have the system the way they have it, but I think that the Major League Soccer has to be more proactive as to really going after high school, going into the inner city, going all over the places, not just blame.
I think they need to go after high school teams because from my point of view, I think they scout and look after more of these travel team tournaments and these travel team situations where it does require money for these kids to go and play. It does require money for the kids to travel, to stay in a hotel, to pay for the fees, to pay for like trips to Europe for camps and stuff like that. And that's where the people may slip through the cracks. But my whole thing, and I told this guy that they're pretty much like trying to chop a tree with a butter knife. The whole problem is the kids in the U.S. aren't playing soccer in the streets, aren't playing soccer every waking moment. It's not the greatest sport that they want to strive to play because of NBA and other distractions, even iPhone and Nintendo and all these games where people rather do that than than play a sissy sport like soccer, and so you don't have the talent that other countries have, where it's more passionate. And I think a lot of people are asking for that passion, or asking for Sunday leagues, even for not just young kids, but like older kids, to just go out and play soccer and have fun. And then maybe the passion will grow and spread, but I don't see it happen anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, I'm starting to get more involved with it now that I have my nephew. He's 5 years old, so he's starting to it's fun actually going to his practices and stuff like that, and starting to see how the system works. But no, that's really my last thought of the night.
Cool. Well, I guess we'll end it there. Thank you, Joel, for coming on.
Always, chiquis.
And Ronnie, the America can have some better luck in the league. In Liga.
I don't think they're gonna win it, dude. I think they'll get far, but I don't think they'll win it.
Alrighty. Well, thanks everyone for joining, and for those who I see in the chat may have taken offense. Come back and join us. Come back and join us another time to take further offense. We're always free to offend every now and then.
Yeah. Remember, it's just we can agree to disagree on a lot of things, but remember the game. Still love the game.
Yeah. Just focus. I mean, I think if we all just focus on, the sport, and that's it. There's other stuff that are just extracurricular, but it's all passion for the sport, and that's what unites. So, thanks everyone for listening. I will have this episode on iTunes for future listening tomorrow, and we'll talk to you guys later.